Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. In this tutorial, we'll just be going through a simple deployment of a container on ECS, AWS ECS. And we'll be using mainly the CLI for this, so I'm going to make it very quick and you can get the information you need quickly. So let's just start with going through what we have already. I already have a simple Python application. Can see it here, cats. Where's the app? Okay. So we can see here it's just a simple application that outputs hello from ECS. Then we can see the Docker file. Alright, here you go. It's just outputting it expose 8080. So the application will run on port 8080. Then just run Python API, Python app.py. First, we have to install AWS CLI. Now you need to know that you need to have AWS CLI installed on your PC. I have Fedora here. I will not go through the installation, but you can just type in on Google how to install AWS CLI, and you will see the instructions. It will be different for every system, so you need to check that out on your own. To be sure you have AWS installed correctly, you can check the version of AWS you have. Wait, AWS. Can you see here that is installed? We have our Docker file, we have our application. Next is to configure AWS on our system. You can do that with the command AWS configure. I'm going to assume you already have an AWS account. If you don't already have it, you need to create one. I'm going to show you how to create a user that we're going to use for this project. So here on AWS, we are going to create a IAM user. This user is going to be used for the deployment. We need to get the access key and every other credentials we need to access AWS. Now create user. We can name this deploy. Now we can just click next here. Then create user. The user is created immediately. Now what you do is click on the user. Now you see security credentials. When you scroll down, you can create access key. We are going to be using the CLI, so we'll click on this. I understand. Next, we have tag value here. We don't need that. Create the key. We have access key here. We have secret key here. Let's copy the access key first. Paste the access key here. We need the secret key. Now copy the secret key. Region we can leave it. Output format, leave it down. So now AWS is configured. Like I said earlier, we already have the Python app. So what we need to do now is build the app and run it. Oh, my Docker is not running. Let me turn that on. Now the Docker is running. Let's try again. It should be working now. Now we can see that the application is running on port 8080. We can go ahead and cancel now then. Next, what we are going to do is create a repository for our application on ECR. ECR is like an AWS version of Docker Hub. So we are going to publish our image on ECR now. So with this command, you're able to do that. This is using ECR to create repository with the name my app and register it as US East 1. Press enter. It seems our user is very limited. Let's create or let's add some policies to enable us use ECR. Here we are going to add the administrator access. This is not advisable for real world purposes, but for testing we can do this. So we can add it here, then click on next, add permissions. Alright, the policy is added. We can now try to create a repository now. Alright, it has been created now. Now we are going to authenticate Docker to ECR. For that, we will need your account ID on AWS. On AWS, you can find your account ID here. When you click, you can copy your account ID. This is the command to authenticate Docker to AWS. For your account ID, this is where you're going to paste it here. Replace this with yours. So now if I click, we should be able to log in. See, login succeeded. Now we can push the Docker image that is built on our system. Now first tag the image. Don't forget to change this to your account ID. When you tag the image, you can now push. This is the command to tag, and this is going to push. Now that our application is pushed, it's not deployed yet. It's just sitting in ECR. Now we need to deploy it. We are going to deploy it using Fargate. Fargate is used to manage containers. You can use it to do different things on your container, but we're just going to deploy using Fargate. Now we're going to create EC2 cluster first. Before working on Fargate, we need to create a cluster for the application. So we can do that with AWS EC2 create cluster. Then the name of the cluster name first. Name of the cluster. Let's just say my cluster. Then the region. We have been using US East 1, so that's what I'm going to put here. Oh, I made a mistake. It should be ECS, not EC2. We're not working with EC2 now. ECS. Now that the cluster is created, we can use /q, then enter. Or no need to press enter. It's going to exit on its own. So you can clear now. If you go to AWS, you'll be able to see the cluster that was just created here. Alright, now we can see that the cluster was created. Now we're going to run or create an ECS stacks definition file. This file is just going to tell Fargate how it should run your container tell it the Docker images and also CPU and memory allocation. It's going to be a long file, so I'm just going to paste it in here and just discuss. So here we are saving it inside this file. Basically what it's doing is telling Fargate you need CPU resources 256, need memory resources 512. Then you need to replace this with your account ID. Then the container definition, we are going to the container we pushed to ECR. This is it here. Then you now replace this with your account ID here again. This is the tag for your image. Then port mapping. We can now press enter. The file has been created. ls. We can see the file here. Now run the file. This command is registering the task for ECS. It has been registered. So you use / to quit, / and Q to exit. So when we created the ECS cluster, if you notice, we had EC2 also created, and this EC2 instance has its subnet. We need that subnet to connect to Fargate. So let's get it with this command. This command is going to get the data for our EC2 instance. Okay, we didn't put the region US East 1. Now we can get the subnet from our VPC with this. After I did this here. Oh, keep forgetting to add region. Alright, now we have the subnet. Now we can create the Fargate task to run our application. Replace this with your subnet that was admitted. Okay. Now we can run this. This error is occurring because I forgot to create this task execution rule. To do this, we'll first create the trust policy file. Then create the IAM rule using that trust policy file. Yeah, I've already done this before while trying to debug, so it's going to show this. Then now you can attach the ECS policy to the rule. You can do this with this command. I've already run this before, so I'm not going to run it again. You can verify that the rule exists with this command. Okay, / Q to exit. Now you can rerun the ECS task here to start the application. Now the application is running, but we need to get the task public IP so that we can access it on the browser. First of all, we need to get the task ARN. You can get that with this. Yeah, this is the ARN. So we use that to get the ENI ID. That's the network interface ID. Now replace this with your tax ID here, and replace this with your account ID. So we can run this now. What we are looking for is the network interface ID to get the IP address. So we are going to get this here, copy, /Q to exit. You might need to save that somewhere so that you can use it to update the command with yours. Now replace this here with your network interface ID and run. With this, you should get your public IP. So now with this IP alone, you won't be able to access your application because the security group, the default security group, does not allow the application to run or be accessed outside. So what you're going to do now is get the security group from AWS. So let's go to, all right, on our cluster here, this is ECS cluster. We can click on it, then go to tasks. Yeah, you can see here your task here. Click on it, then go to networking. You'll see your security group here. Also see your IP. We have already gotten this. So let's click on the security. I just created this, but this is what we are going to do here. We are going to copy this ID and come here. This is where you're going to put your security group number. This basically is going to allow inbound 8080, but 8080, so you can access your application on the internet. Forgot to add region. Yeah, it's showing here that it already exists because I did that before. So now we can access the application. Oh, I shouldn't have cleared that. I already have the IP. Try to open it here. I don't know why it's taking time like this. Alright, so this is obviously not going to work. We need to navigate to port 8080. And now we see that our application is running on ECS. Thank you for watching. If this video was helpful to you, please like, subscribe, and share.